In his first year with Chicago, DeMar DeRozan is putting together the best season of his entire career. His remarkable consistency and unstoppable mid-range game has elevated him to be a top 5 scorer in the league this season. Today, we're going to dissect his offensive skill set to break down how he's become one of the NBA's premier scorers. Let's get started. In his shot chart, the larger size blocks represent a higher number of shots taken from a certain spot. You can see that DeRozan loves shooting mid-range shots and rarely relies on threes. The darker colored blocks represent a higher percentage of made shots from a certain spot. You can see that the two coincide in this area right around the free throw line. This region has the highest percentage of makes and the highest amount of shots. This shows that this is the area where DeRozan is the most dominant and also the most comfortable. Keep this in mind as we break down his game. First, you'll notice that DeRozan is always looking to get to a sweet spot right around the free throw line. While he's a great mid-range shooter in general, he makes a consistent effort to specifically get to his spots in the center of the floor. Since he plays to his strengths and focuses on getting to his spots, he's incredibly efficient on offense, even with contested shots. He's very difficult to guard when he gets to these areas. In order to prevent this, you might see teams double team him in the center of the floor to keep him out of his hot spot. Here, the defense collapses into the middle to deter his shot. However, the middle of the court is the most difficult area to trap the ball handler, because you can easily pass it to an open teammate on either side. So most of the time, the defense allows for one-on-one coverage in this area. That allows for DeRozan to take full advantage and torch opposing teams from this area. Second, a key tool in DeRozan's game is his masterful pump fake. What makes his pump fake so effective is that it looks exactly like his real jumper. Here's 3 key points on DeRozan's pump fake. First, he always looks at the rim, which instantly makes him a threat to shoot the ball. Next, he always brings the ball slightly above his head, or at least to head height. This motion also mimics his real jumper, which makes it deceptive to defenders. Lastly, he gets into a low body position, which makes it look like he's about to elevate for a shot. This allows him to fake with his entire body, not just his arms and head, which makes the fake more effective. Now let's test your judgment. Let's see if you can distinguish between the two. On these next 5 shots, try to guess if it's a pump fake or an actual shot. I hope that illustrates how similar the two look. Let me know in the comments how many you got right. Next, I want to point out how simple DeRozan keeps his offense. Usually, he either uses a go-to move or a counter move. For example, in this case, his go-to move is a normal pull-up jumper from the middle, like you see here. On the very next play, DeRozan comes down, and if you freeze it here, it looks like he's about to do the same pull-up. His counter move is this little hesitation where he slightly fakes a shot and then drives past for a floater. That's really all it takes. Another example is shown here. Like before, his go-to move can be a pull-up jumper in the middle, but here he uses a quick in and out dribble to fake like he's going middle before bouncing towards the outside. So instead of focusing on using a ton of moves, he has become elite at a handful of reliable moves and their counter moves. This allows him to be unpredictable and unguardable. Finally, DeRozan is what's known as a deadeye shooter. In its simplest terms, a deadeye shooter is someone who is relatively unaffected by defense while shooting. Even if shots get tightly contested by defenders, DeRozan is still known to knock down those shots anyway. If we're willing to put in the work, anyone can develop this deadeye tendency through training and practice. We'll discuss more how to train and develop this trait in a future video. That concludes our film study of DeMar DeRozan's elite mid-range offense. As always, let us know what you've learned and who or what skills you'd like to see broken down next. Now it's time for you to add these aspects to your game. Thank you for watching. Grow abundantly.